I am California of the past.
I am California of the past.
I
am California of the past.
Hello there, I'm Robert Woolley, a longtime Alameda resident, and I've been asked to detail a little bit of the history of our family in Alameda. And our family actually goes back to right around the fire and earthquake era in 1906 in San Francisco. And our family, like many others, were burned out in San Francisco in the 1906 fire and earthquake. My grandfather had a home in San Francisco and he lost that home in the fire. And originally in 1906 he left and went to Vallejo, settled there just for a short time, and then came to Alameda shortly after that and established his residence on Encinal Avenue right near Porter School. And he worked for the Southern Pacific Railroad as an electrician back in those days when they had the electric trains. He handled all the overhead wires of the Southern Pacific Railroad at that time. His son, my dad, was a pioneer aviator. He was actually the first boy to fly across the United States. About 1923, he flew in the back of a mail plane when he was a Boy Scout. And my dad didn't let aviation stop there. He had his own airplane, the 1928 Valley Air Coupe, that he flew out of Alameda Aerodrome here in Alameda. He also became a mail pilot. Another famous relative we have is my uncle John Diaz, who on December 7th, 1941 was on board the USS Vestal, which was tied up right next to the Arizona. And as a kid growing up and for many, many years, it's something he'd never talk about. Only in the latter years did he actually share details of what really happened on that tragic day. And to get things firsthand, there's no account of it than somebody's actually been there and tells you those stories. California residents who were at Pearl Harbor are eligible to receive the license plate, and I have the one that was off of his car. Very proud to have that. I've lived here all my life. I was born here, born at Alameda Hospital, and went through kindergarten through 8th grade at Haight School, with no middle schools at that time. The old Haight School was just a beautiful building. I learned a lot of respect for architecture. And I remember during art classes, we'd go across the street and sketch all of the beautiful Victorians that, unfortunately, some of which no longer exist, until Alameda stepped in and passed Measure A, which saved a lot of houses in those days. I'm glad Alameda passed Measure A, at least preserve what's left of Victorian homes. Went on to graduate from Alameda High School. And one of my classmates from kindergarten through high school was Steve Kaiser, whose mom introduced me to my wife of 42 years, Johanna. And when my wife and I were married, our first apartment is right across the street from where I grew up and I lived in on Pacific, even though my folks had long since moved. It was kind of nice to go back in the old homestead. I remember watching that building actually being built there on a vacant lot, which during World War II was actually gun emplacement, anti-aircraft guns. In my early days in Alameda, I worked for the Oakland Tribune as a newspaper boy. I delivered newspapers in my same area of Pacific Avenue. My first real job was delivering Chinese food for Bamboo Kitchen, working for Donald Jew. And I was 16 years old and paid to drive a car. Can you beat that? Plus free Chinese food. What could be better? And I really had to have made an impression on him because many, many years later, for Donald Jew's 80th birthday party, the family invited me to sit at the head table with Mr. Jew. Of all the honors I've received, things that I've done in my life, nothing can beat that after all those years. That's the best honor that I ever received. So I'm very proud to have grown up here. So many stories of Alameda I'm proud to share. I love it here. I've always enjoyed being here and saw no reason ever to leave. So, history of Alameda, I really, really enjoy. I appreciate it, and I'm glad to be part of it.